The deformed light switches in the basement are not just broken props. They don't connect to anything in the store. When Clark's electrician opens the breaker box, he finds 3 colored switches installed diagonally inside the distribution board. Not vertical, not horizontal. Diagonal, none of them wire to any circuit in the building. The electrician says it out loud and moves on, treating it as a curiosity. Fans point out a normal breaker panel doesn't have switches pointing at impossible angles that connect to nothing. These don't belong to the store's electrical system. They belong to whatever is on the other side of that wall. Possibly ASYNC monitoring equipment. Possibly the Backrooms' own electrical system bleeding through into ours. The theory says Clark's store wasn't just unlucky, already claimed. Something had partially installed itself in the building before Clark knew a door existed. The switches were already running. Clark just hadn't found them yet. The store was already broken before Clark touched the wall. The Voyager, golden record on the caveman display, is not just a random background prop. It's a contact attempt. ASYNC mounted intercom devices to the chests of cardboard caveman cutouts placed throughout the backrooms. Those intercoms continuously play audio from the 1977 Voyager golden record, specifically the recording of human greetings in 55 languages. NASA put that on the Voyager probe as a message to potential alien life beyond our solar system. Fans point out that ASYNC is using the exact signal humanity aimed at the stars, deployed inside a liminal maze. They believe whatever inhabits the backrooms responds to the same communication attempt we sent into deep space, not just mapping the space. Introducing themselves to it, the Voyager probes have traveled billions of kilometers from Earth. ASYNC is playing the same record in the opposite direction. Supporters say that tells you exactly what category of thing they think lives in those rooms. First contact, in a liminal maze, using a cardboard caveman. The shoes beside Bobby and Kat's throne make that scene much darker. The backrooms already had them before they arrived. When Clark first explores alone, he finds his commercial prop throne embedded in the backroom's floor. The chair he sat on filming is Captain Clark. Beside it, Kat's flip-flops and Bobby's shoes, not left on the ground but fused into the carpet itself. Absorbed into the physical structure of the space, fans point out Bobby and Kat haven't entered the backrooms at this point in the film. Clark is looking at their shoes, digested into the floor before they've come through the wall. Supporters argue the backrooms was already pulling them in through their connection to Clark. Already memorized, already processing. Their belongings were being embedded before the rope was even tied. The shoes aren't debris, they're a reservation. The furniture store objects inside the backrooms show that the maze is copying Clark's store, and the copies keep getting worse the deeper you go. Bobby's exact end apartheid shirt turns up in a backroom's laundry room covered in blood before he's killed. Clark's commercial throne is embedded in a separate floor entirely. A stuffed toy parrot appears near a lopsided throne, the same parrot from Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire pirate branding. Later, Mary is cornered inside a full replica of the showroom, same layout, same products, everything slightly wrong. Phil explains near the end that the backrooms is an echo chamber for memory. Misremembered, it reconstructs the things and people who enter it imperfectly. The copies degrade the further in you go. Furniture proportions are off, lights in the wrong positions. The store replica Mary finds is close enough to recognize and broken enough to disturb. The backrooms remembers things the way you reconstruct a place from years ago. Structurally correct, details failing. Clark's purple clothing stands out against the yellow-green backrooms for a reason. Purple and yellow are complementary colors. Kane Parsons didn't arrive at that by accident. Every surface in the backrooms runs on the same palette. Yellow-green carpet, yellow-green wallpaper, the humming yellow-green wash of fluorescent light. The Captain Clark pirate costume Clark wears in his commercial is purple. Complementary, opposite of yellow-green on the color wheel. Maximum visual contrast. Fans point out that purple only appears in the maze where Clark's personal identity is leaked into the physical structure. His throne, the toy parrot, objects tied specifically to him. Supporters say the color is doing narrative work throughout the film. Yellow-green belongs to the back rooms. Purple belongs to Clark. Nothing else. Watch what happens to the purple as he unravels inside the maze. It disappears with him. The TV commercial at the beginning secretly predicts the entire movie. It tells you exactly what Clark is going to become. The commercial has Clark sitting on a throne as Captain Clark, his store's pirate mascot. Bobby asks whether Clark is a pirate or a sultan. Clark snaps at him to shut up. The chair collapses under Clark mid-take. Every single detail is a preview, not a coincidence, a blueprint. The throne turns up embedded in the Backrooms floor. Bobby's question matters because the creature that kills Clark is specifically a pirate, not a sultan, not a generic monster. The chair breaking is the first signal that Clark's self-image as captain of his own life is already collapsing, and the commercial is what connects Clark to ASYNC. Phil watches it on television at home, recognizes the man he's been tracking on surveillance cameras, and is visibly rattled. Supporters argue the commercial is the film's actual trailer, hidden inside the opening act. Everything the Backrooms does to Clark is previewed in one humiliating promotional shoot at a failing furniture store. The ASYNC doctor recognizes Clark before the audience understands why. The look on Phil's face is the detail most viewers missed. Phil is at home watching The Never-Ending Story with his family when Clark's furniture store commercial interrupts the broadcast. The moment Clark appears on screen, Phil's expression changes completely. He's stunned. Fans point out this scene is shown before the film reveals the surveillance setup. At this point, the audience has no idea Phil has been monitoring Clark on hidden cameras inside the Backrooms. The recognition looks inexplicable. Then, the film folds back and shows Phil watching Clark on a monitor, earlier in the timeline. That recontextualizes everything. Supporters say the scene is placed deliberately to plant the wrong kind of familiarity. Phil knows Clark. Clark has no idea Phil exists. ASYNC has been running surveillance the entire film. Every expedition, every corridor, every room. The commercial is the first moment their subject accidentally made eye contact with them through a television screen. The MRI detail in ASYNC's backstory points to what the Backrooms actually are. Once you hear it, the whole film reconfigures. Phil tells Mary near the end that ASYNC used to be an MRI company, a medical imaging firm. Then they discovered the Backrooms, and the mission changed entirely. That's the pivot. Fans point out this isn't a throwaway backstory, it's a structural clue. MRI machines create images of the interior of the human body by mapping electromagnetic fields. The Backrooms, according to Phil, is an echo chamber for human memory. It physically reconstructs people's psychological landscapes inside the maze, the still lifes, the replica store, the malformed copies of everyone who enters. Supporters argue ASYNC didn't accidentally change direction. They found a space that does to the human mind what MRI does to the human body. Imagine the interior, on a cosmic scale. The theory says the Backrooms might be a form of external consciousness, a place where the human subconscious becomes physically navigable. ASYNC started by imagining the inside of people. Then they found something that does it on a scale they still cannot map.